Hey everybody, it's Dennis. Hey Dio. I might have missed someone in here. I accidentally just closed chat. I think someone used the first notification. Yeah, Darkstorm. Hey Darkstorm. Finally got some audio. Yeah, what a different watching experience that'll be. Okay, so we're gonna pick up right where we left off here and get through these changes. We're gonna hopefully do this in about 2 hours, and then respond to some comments. Maybe find some other task we can do. Hey Zoe. So yeah, let's go delete restore until we need it. Restore. Yeah. All right. Anywhere else? This is not called anywhere. Yeah. So delete this. On restore can go away. The actual call to restore can go away. Actually, before I do that, are there any functions here that we maybe reset all abilities? I'll need to look into that too. And then this function is not called for anywhere. Oh man. Yeah, this is not called for anywhere. Okay, so now what about this? This is now also not called for anywhere. So I think I'm gonna delete this too for right now. I jump for Al Easter egg. Hey, reformulate. Maybe when the skeletons are very happy, they jump and spin. But there's no way to make a skeleton happy, so you'll never find it. Got to do like some Konami code thing. Okay, so just deleted restore here. I feel like there's nothing wrong with this code except that we're not using it. And that's the only issue that I have with this, is that it's straightforward enough, and we could always look at this commit if we ever wanted to again. But since it's not being used right now, we don't know if in the future some of these assumptions will change. So I think it'd be good to have this. Because of auto-generated source. Yeah, I saw that earlier. Okay, so remove unused restore function. This will be important later. But for now, it's unused. And I don't know which assumptions will change between now and then. And I don't want to keep moving this code around while refactoring. Yeah. Okay, stop using battler basically everywhere. Yeah, so this is... Let's start with this, I guess. No, let's start with the battle system itself. So we have these battlers, and I think we should just make these nodes. See, this is what I'm torn on. Nothing here really needs to be a battler. Here we're just checking to see, is it dead? Here we're checking their team. And that's it. And then there's one more. Yeah, this. Here we're checking to see if they're dead, which is the health component. It's pretty funny, Dennis. So we could make these nodes, and then I have to pretty much ask, like, what is a battler? And so here's, I guess, what this all comes down to, is battles right now are just players and enemies. What if in the future there was a trap in the battle? Like a spike thing that can absorb damage. It wouldn't have abilities. It wouldn't have a death sprite, etc. It's just an entity of a different type. Initially it was an entity, which could be anything. Right, but I guess what I mean is the original thing that it was what turned into Battler, and I don't think it should even be that original entity. Although I don't know how to find this anymore. I'd probably have to go like midway through a commit. What was for lunch today? I had a gyro. It was pretty good. Anyway, well, I guess what I mean when I say entity is just a node. So I think we should just make these be nodes. And that means we need to change a bunch of stuff around. But then it makes me wonder, is there even a reason to have battlers? Like what makes something a battler? Like why would we even track these? And I'm not sure. Because we're sorting through these. We could just always base it on something in this tree. We actually don't have a battle. We just have an instance with a background. And then, yeah, so we could add something like battle entities. Actually, where do these get added? I'm guessing in the instance itself. Whoops. Yeah, I made a change here that I need to undo if I'm going to try this out. I started the wrong scene now. All right, there we go. So yeah, where are these things added? I'm guessing in the instance. Yeah. Yeah, so these could all get added to a like a battle entities thing or battlers or whatever. And then we can just fetch all of the children from that and search through them. Fetching them all every time is probably not important. So yeah, I think keeping track of them in memory is fine. All right, let's just keep track of node. And we'll call this battle entities maybe? Or maybe just entities? No, I think battle entities is fine. I want some differentiation between battler and battle entities. And so any component system, there's this concept of an assemblage, which is a specific entity that's a set of components. So for example, there may be a battler assemblage, and it is a health component, and it's an abilities component, and it's, you know, whatever else, maybe buffs and debuffs. And so that's what this is. That's what this essentially is right now. It's an assemblage of components. And I'm going to change some of these things around a bit. Because take damage shouldn't be on here. Take damage shouldn't exist on... Oh, that was already written down right there. Yeah, all right. Sure. So let's start by having this just be called battlers. Let's do one thing at a time. And let's have it take in nodes. And then this isn't going to exist. We will get to that in a sec. This doesn't need to be here. The team thing isn't going to exist either. Shouldn't we be extracting logic to, for example, a health system? It doesn't need to be a one-to-one relationship. Like health component doesn't need to also imply that there's a health system. It just means that there's some system out there that concerns itself with entities that have a health component. And so you could think about it in a bunch of ways. Maybe there's a wood cutting system, and this would need to handle tree health. And maybe there's a battle system, and this would need to handle, you know, battler health. So there is no health system necessarily. There's just these. Also for health component itself, I mean, the functions are usually pretty straightforward, right? Like take damage or something or heal. So yeah, you can imagine the same thing with a money component. Like customers will have money. Your player could kind of have money. You might have items that have money and that's their value or something. Yeah, it looks like restarting fixed the Discord bot. I kind of wanted to try it out if I hadn't restarted it. Like, was it a one-off issue or would it just happen forever after that? But I figured it wasn't really worth it. So yeah, functions like this won't exist on battle or death. This was called from on death handle, which is called from the health empty thing. And so what did this do? Set can update abilities to false, which I think I want to delete. Yeah, I think I want to delete that. But I need to make sure when I do delete it, if I get rid of can update abilities, then we need to track whether the entity is dead. Maybe a utility function somewhere like ECS.isDead. It can throw if the entity doesn't have a health component. That in particular would be called a health system, but I don't know where we'll put that. They're just static functions. This flag is not only for is dead. Right, exactly. Yeah. And I want to do that differently because um, there may be many effects that prevent you from updating your abilities, and we need to compute that at the right time rather than set a flag. At least that's what I think. But we'll see once we actually code this, because right now it's just death. And in the future, yeah, it'll be something like stunning or some sort of disabling or silencing. Is this Java? This is C#. And hey, Nitrana. They're very similar, by the way. I think C# was heavily inspired by Java. So if you're like, oh, this looks really familiar, it looks like Java, then that's probably why. Okay, so we ran into some issues here already. One is with this on death. Oh yeah, and I want to see what happens on death. That's right. So we update a texture, we toggle life bar visibility, and then we invoke this. This is what we listen to over here to know whether the battle ended. So this is the only part that concerns the battle. This stuff just concerns this entity. So this entity can still listen for this, and then the battle can directly listen to this part. So let's do that. So this is going to be, we need their health component. There we go. And then HC dot, I forgot what it's called. On health empty. Yeah, and I'm going to eventually rename that to on dead probably. But on health empty plus equal on death handler. Cool. And it will not match the right delegate. This is an action. Oh, right. How will that work then? So battler had this and it took in a battler. Yeah, I guess any of these events, we would need to associate them with the entity, which is a shame. Oh, yeah, that's totally fine, Darkstorm. This is C#. I try to keep the title of the stream updated with the general like language I'm using. Although really for the next several months, it's probably also going to be this. But yeah, welcome on in. Huh. So if we want to do this, we need to like wrap this in another thing that provides the entity. I wonder if you could do something like this. What's the death event handler? It takes in a battle. Yeah. So can we pass in a battler here? Yeah, I think we can. And then we just change this to a node, right? Okay, that'll work. It's a little weird, but let's go with that for now. Separated by a blank line. Sure. Next up is team. So a battler currently has a team. Where's the team set? It is set in the constructor. Well, in init, I mean. And so we're going to have to change this a little bit too. That's basically the same signature. You mean the event that I used to have? So there is a key difference here, if I'm understanding you correctly. So battler had this on battler death. This took in a battler specifically, whereas that, and maybe you're not talking about this, but the health component one, where did I put that thing? There. The health component one doesn't have that argument because it could be attached to anything. Are we going to make a battle team component now? battle team component. This is going to be called battle team. Going to take in team, and then set this here. Team equals team. Done. Now in Battler, we're going to add this, but we need to make sure that init is being called in the right place. And it's being called before adding it. So what if we just call it after adding it? Or yeah, after adding it. And now this can be done here. And then add component. There we go. Then get rid of this and there. Missing the Chat GPT plugin. I have the Copilot plugin. So I still have a way of being able to interact with AI here. Now the battle system, which previously got this from the team, is going to get this from somewhere else. Hey, Esteban, nice to see you. I was thinking of emailing you on a certain recent anniversary, which you probably know what I'm talking about. But I was like, nah, it would just be like a happy certain kind of anniversary. Anyway, how have things been? I hope it's been good. Let me get back to this thing that we had. So this is why I was saying we don't need a battler here. We have a node, and from the node we can get the battle team. BTC, it's Bitcoin time. Yeah, and then from this we can get the team. Let's see, would this work always? Yes, assuming that the entity has one of these, yeah. Using crop top merch. Nah, it's not happening anymore. Can't get it. Can't get the rights. Actually, you know what I was thinking? I just wrote a note to myself on my own personal to-do to get Skeleseller merch at some point. I think it'd be cool to have a t-shirt with a logo. And the logo's not totally finalized yet, so I can't start that. And I don't know when the right time to release this merch would be. But Hepta, that's when you can finally step up to the plate. Why not? Half the size, same cost. I wonder how easy it would be to set that up. Not that I actually plan on doing that. But I know that Amazon, I had merch through Amazon before and through a site, I want to say it was called Redbubble. Am I thinking that correctly? Yeah. And they had certain things you could put them on, any logos or whatever, like a mug, a t-shirt, probably a mouse pad or something. And yeah, I don't know what all the options were. But I'm probably just gonna go with a t-shirt. Now the question is, do I break brand and wear a t-shirt then on stream? Who knows? It's just a different brand, I guess. So anything you'd get an enemy target of would imply that you need to have a team set. So if this doesn't exist, then we're gonna have a problem, although it'll just throw here anyway. Anything else we have an issue with? Yeah, this filter by team. We go through the battlers here. This needs to be a little bit different. We need to say this. Get for battler dot team equals team. Node does not contain definition for team. I think this is just a rebuild problem here. Don't forget the pants with the words on the butt. I wonder if any game actually has that. I told you, well, I told some people on Discord the other day I was in a grocery store around here. Let me see if I can share this picture here. Where is this picture? Here it is. I was blown away to see this. Cheez-It sliced apples branded like Minecraft because they're cheese cubes. And I just wondered, how does this exist? Who set this deal up? So it kind of makes you wonder, are there pants like what you're talking about? You show me really quick where you subscribe to on battler death. Something is off. You subscribe with a parameterless lambda when it expects a battler. It's because I'm subscribing to the health component one this time. So it's hc.onHealthEmpty. And as far as I know now, nothing is subscribing to the thing that you had mentioned. Where is it? Death. Yeah, this. I don't think, yeah, nothing's ever using this anymore. But that was kind of the point of this, that the only thing that cares about this is the battler itself. And this is on death handle. Yeah, so that's already done. So we just delete this now. And I'll hopefully be able to push this sort of soon. So yeah, we'll take a look. Okay. Yeah, so going back to this now. Why is this problematic? Cannot implicitly convert type IEnumerable to... Oh, whoa, this is supposed to return a battler. No, it's not. Node. There we go. And then we can still call this battler. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Unused parameter. Okay, delete that, I guess. And then same thing here with teams. So this is going to get the health component of this. Get health component. Whoops. Health component. This thing. And check if it's dead. All right. I think we might have done it. What's the problem here? No overload takes one argument. Oh, right. Yeah. All right. I guess we should probably have this get taken in then, huh? Is there a way to get rid of this error here? Well, the warning, remove this unused parameter. Because well, no, I'll just delete it. Yeah, we'll get rid of this too. And just know in the future that this could take in the entity by making a lambda. All right, now what's the problem here? Target doesn't contain a health component. Yep. So same deal here. You can now add the parameter back. Wait, what? I might have misunderstood something. No argument given that corresponds to this. Yeah, this is on target. And then cannot implicitly convert node to what battlers? Yep, this should be nodes. And this returns a node. Yeah. Okay, gotcha, Darkstorm. All right, I think we kind of cruised through this. Now maybe we need to modify the ability. Yeah, this should just be a node. And then target.take damage is not a thing anymore. Battler is what had this. But this needs to now be part of the battle itself. So we're going to move take damage over to that. So there's going to be a public void. I'm going to call it deal damage now that that's not in the entity anymore. And we're going to take all this, float incoming damage. That's fine there. All right. So this is not how this should look. This should look sort of like what we had done over here. So if we look at an ability, it was deal damage. There was a character dealing the damage, then the battle itself, then the target. Yeah, source target damage. That's it. That's what we want. And possibly we could, well, let's start with just that because we know for sure we're going to use that. So source is the entity, target is the target, and damage is the number 25 for now. And this is done in the battle. And we just call this deal damage. So now we're going to pass in those three things. A not null source, a not null target, and damage. Good. Whoops. I forgot the node. There we go. Yeah, so now what we do is we get the health component of the target. So ECS.get component, health component target, take damage. And that's it. And we don't need source right now, but we will need it eventually. And now I think we're good. Let's try that out. It's all broken. Value cannot be null. Where are you being thrown from? ECS, get component, battle system 24. There it is. health component. All right. This is what I was a little bit worried about because of the order of calling these functions. So init on the battle system is called from where? From init on the instance, which is called from where? Here. And then we add the battlers after that. I see. All right, let's do it the other way around. Which now means if these are inside the scene, then we don't really need to worry about this. Let's delete this. Yeah, that's something that the instance should do. So we're going to add all of the battlers that you have to the scene. Oops, whoops, what am I doing? I don't know what I just did. I got mixed up for a sec. Where did I just copy paste that from? Here, yeah. Oh, wait, no, we're fine, we're fine. I got confused for a second. So this is just battler and battlers. All right, then we're gonna add child here. All right, now I think we should be good. Is this saying to make sure it's not null? If this is null, we're gonna have a problem here. So yeah, I guess we just say not null. Type or namespace is missing. Cool. All right, let's try that out. Hey, nice. Now we're missing, well, we're not missing the damage numbers. They're just up at the top there. Now, why is that happening? Floating text in the battle system for deal damage. Create with this. This is the battle system, which technically has no coordinate. So I guess we need to make the instance. And now I think it should work. Should look pretty much like it did. We're just refactoring here. So everything should look the same way that it already looked. Except for it doesn't. Because I should put that on the target, I guess. Yeah, whoops. There. Close you. Go back over to there. Looking good. Any errors? No. All right, let's let this battle finish just to make sure nothing's going wrong. Yeah, won the battle. Cool. So have I accomplished my task? Not quite. This is done. These things are all done. There's still battler being used somewhere. Well, the word is being used in a bunch of spots. I don't care about the word. I care about the type. Looks like the type is, well, let's just do this. Open in editor. All right. It's all gone from battle system. Cool. It's not gone from instance. So we need to fix instance. I don't really care about title screen. Oh, so we just need to fix instance. And there's only, what, 2 references? Easy peasy. Hey, Matt. So battler, watch how easy this is. Done. Does that work, though? Init now takes in node. So now the caller of init might also need to change. This is just characters.concat. I think we're also going to, whoopsie. I think we're also going to make these, no, it's fine. Actually, that would work. Yeah, all this would be fine. Now let's try this out. Look at what I had before. The code is completely different. So here's what I want to avoid. I want to avoid like, hey, there's style A and there's style B and both work totally fine. And I was just like, no, we're going with the style I choose. So I think that would be really bad. There are reasons why I did everything I did, and I think it's going to lead to clearer code in the future. So for example, we've now completely, the battle system does not need battlers anymore. It just needs nodes, which, like I said, if we ever added in something like a wall doesn't need an ability. A wall just needs maybe health. I don't know what a wall would do in this game, but yeah, maybe it has health. Maybe it has, I don't know. It's probably a bad example. Yeah, traps from earlier, or like a fire trap or something. So we're assuming some basic stuff about battlers and what can be in the battle. but not a ton, I think. So stop using Battler basically everywhere. I think we're now done with that. I'll search for this like so. Yeah. Looks a little bit different, yeah. Okay, so let's check this in. So this was stop using Battler. Did I need this new line here? I think it complains. I wonder if I just ignored that in the first time. What are the things you create during battle, like summons? We just fetch entities once. Yeah, that's something that'll need to change. So you'll presumably add and remove from this as things, well, just add to it, I guess, as things are come into existence. Get enemy target. Yeah, so stop relying on the battler type. All right, not bad. Most classes now just use node, and we rely on the components that a node may or may not have. All right, now look at abilities component. Oh, this can be gone. So this is only ever false when an entity is dead, I believe. Yes. Okay, so there are a couple ways we could do this. One is this is just a flag. So we could make a component, which is something like cannot act component, which you could sort of argue is like the same as, I don't know, is stunned component or something like that. But cannot act could be from a broader range like dead, stunned, silenced. I don't know what else. However, since this is just based on death right now, like whether or not you can do something, I think we just check and see if the entity's dead. So I think that's what I'm going to do for now. And here we just check, are you dead? So if not, ecs.get component, health component is dead. Or if it is dead, what was the wording on that before? Can update abilities, yeah. It's the opposite of are you dead? So now if we let that just run, oh my God, I keep clicking the wrong button. So if we let that run, it should just run without any errors. And then once entities are dead, yeah, they're not causing issues. Okay, if I get rid of this, then we need to track whether the entity is dead, maybe make a utility function. This is something that if we do, we're going to do somewhere down here. So I don't know. I think it's reasonable enough to, I don't know where we would put it. The first issue is making the function. The second issue is figuring out where we put it. All right, but this is going to be remove can update abilities. For now, I'm just checking if the entity is dead. In the future, we'll need to accommodate other status effects. So I suspect we'll do this by checking for the existence of a component. I didn't finish reviewing this code. Okay, there we go. Yeah. Now let me sync those. Make sure I look at Battler. I mean, I think I have. What else is here? I think some of these inits could be changed around. I think I'd need to take a look at that. Look at how everything is initialized. I think we can just add the entities to the scene first. And simplify things that way. All right, what else is here though? So we're using all this stuff, right? No, we're not using, why are we using instance? We're not using instance. Yeah. Okay, life bar. Life bar is used to set the max value and then update the life bar. That's totally fine. Alive texture. These are set here. I think this is okay. Yep. And dead texture. And then the sprite is used to update the texture, right? Yep. Yeah, that's fine. I think it's all pretty good. The event. Oh, wait, that's not a real thing anymore, is it? It's not. I think I just need to restart this. Rebuilding didn't seem to do it. I've seen it happen every once in a while. Yeah, it looks like it's gone now. All right, so all I did is remove an unused variable and unused using statement. So I think this has been looked at. I'll check in just that, I suppose. You just add some blocking component with a timer and abilities. Can't update cooldowns if that component is present. Or just one with updated timer if effects stack. Yeah, that's exactly correct. And so that's the question. And part of it's a game design question, right? Like if you have a poison component, well, no, what's something Boolean? Like stunned. If you have a stun component, probably the only thing you really have in here is a duration. And if you had two of these, you could just say, okay, stack the durations. Slash, thanks for the raid. And welcome in everybody. I want to finish this one thought, then I will give a brief intro into what I'm doing here. If you had something like a poison component though, a poison component may have like one of them might do 5 damage per tick and the other might do 7 damage per tick. So can you combine them? You could say, okay, it does 12 damage per tick, but that might have implications on how damage mitigation works and all this other stuff. And what happens if one was for 3 seconds, the other was for 4 seconds. So this is not a Boolean thing anymore. And yeah, I think we'll need duplicate components for that. And I don't think it'll be too hard to change a lot of what we've done. In fact, maybe we should accommodate duplicate components sooner rather than later. Add a task about accommodating duplicate components. Maybe come up with, or maybe like add poison to the game for that. All right, anyway, Slash and Slash's viewers, I will show really quickly what I'm doing here. I'm working on a game called Skeleseller. So you were an adventurer and you were out adventuring, you got poisoned by a snake and you went to the town to try to get an antidote, but they didn't have any and you died, you turned into a skeleton and now you're like, I'm gonna start my own town and this won't happen to anybody else. So this is just the town system. You see things wandering around right now because there's nothing to do in the town and they're just wandering all over the terrain anyway. But you will eventually have battles playing out at the bottom of the screen. And when you win the battles, you'll get items in your storeroom. And then your skeleton will go to the storeroom and based on the type of the item, it'll go stock up that shop. So here's the alchemist and it'll stock the potion and then go back over to the storeroom. And now customers will see the potion and they can come buy them. And so eventually in the game, of course, you'll have like plenty of different items and skeletons and whatever else, and battles will be going on throughout all of this. So that's a brief overview of the game. Coding of this started last week, I want to say 2 weeks ago. I don't remember. How much time did it take to do this? So this is day 7. If you check out the journal command, it'll take you to this. And you can see exactly how long we spent on this. So yeah, April 17th is when we wrote some code. But before that, this game was essentially just something different and it was being prototyped. And that game is here. This was more focused on just the battle system. So this we spent about 3 weeks on, and you had a character you could manually move around. That's not going to be the case anymore. And then you would manually choose options in battle. That's not going to be the case anymore. So now this battle system is what we're kind of recoding into this game, and we have the very foundations of it here. So you see characters just dealing damage to each other. I think it's just you, Xanis. Definitely need some debug condition like burning and inflict either at random chance or a separate enemy with new skill. Yeah, and now that we have some of the ability system, we could just give the player characters like a burning basic attack or something. So yeah, I think that's a good idea to do. Came back, I see. Thanks, Aho. Let's put that here. maybe just add a burning or like debug burning attack. Or just fireball. I don't know. And give it to player characters. Making a dice roller and I'm bumping into so many walls. It's funny. Yeah, but you're probably learning a lot, right? And I hope that you're having fun doing it. I feel like that's how a lot of people end up learning how to code. They just tackle a project that they like. And in the process, they end up learning a ton. Okay, so here was just remove dead code. This was very minor. Yep. All right, next up, move the battle ended signals into battle system, from battle system back into instance. Yeah, so this was a little bit premature earlier. So we're gonna go back into the battle system. Learned how to code in school and hated it because I didn't get anything. Now I'm 35 and I want to learn coding again. And it's fun because of my pace. Yeah. And also it's not even just that it's at your pace. You probably have a different mentality about all this stuff. I mean, I'm assuming that school was a while ago, but it might have been last year or something. But yeah, if it was a while ago, then probably you have a different view on all of this. Anyway, I think it's great, and I hope your dice roller goes well. I I think I've seen a lot of people who get into coding later than average, not later than what's good or anything, just later than average. And a lot of times they just end up being great coders in the end because they just have a fresh mindset and they're not learning bad practices. Yeah, schools, yeah, I figured. Okay. I didn't want to necessarily assume that, but it's pretty safe to assume that. So the battle system over here has signals that are only used internally, or is this gone now? What is this? Oh, I see. I just need to add signals here that are going to handle what happens, and then the instance can say this stuff. Yeah. So I have to find a rubber ducky. Is streaming not that rubber ducky for you? I feel like streaming helps me out a lot in that sense. Sometimes I'm just thinking out loud and I come to the solution myself, and sometimes I'm thinking out loud and yeah, chat answers for me. It is? That's good, yeah. Yeah, I think streaming is really, really good for coding. It keeps me on task. Oh, you just want one anyway? You could add a duck emote. All right, so how do we get signals in here? I want to see this new way, this way. Yeah, so we put these in here. This has to be public. And I don't know, does it go above or below? Stream to some friends in Discord. Yeah, yeah. That's essentially like body doubling, I feel. And I guess that's like body doubling is kind of a superset of what you do when you're streaming, assuming you have at least one viewer. Doesn't get to code enough, so I live vicariously through Twitch. Oh no, are you high enough up the totem pole now where you're managing? Is that what you're saying? Event should not follow a property. Remove the unused event. Yeah, so this is going to be on battle ended, and we probably just give it an outcome. Yeah, on battle, or no, maybe just on battle ended. That's fine. Oh, electrical engineering. I see. Okay. One person bounce concepts off. Yeah. Yeah, slash. I'd be interested in hearing kind of how this game goes, and then also just how your experience goes. Let's say a year from now or something. One of the things I like doing, I've had this journal that I just showed, but every day I've been trying to just add a new row and then put in what I worked on. Reviewed Dark Storms, PRs, did some refactorings that I wanted to apply from those PRs. Yeah, that's what we have so far at least. Yeah, and that way at the end of any week or at the end of the year or something, I can look through all this and be like, what have I worked on? And I've been streaming again for almost 5 months now. And it's been a lot of like bot development. There's been game development there. There was working on the bot's site, doing a code jam. I don't know, just a bunch of different things. It's nice to see it all laid out like that. So the thing that we want to emit now is this from the battle system. So if there are no player. Wait, what should we do if there's. How about this? How about this? If there are no enemies alive, then you win even if all your characters are dead. How about that? That'll be nice. We'll be nice to people. So we'll put this here, invoke, and then we need to invoke it with a result. Battle result. Now the result is going to be just an enumeration somewhere. Where do we have? Where are the enums? Here. So we'll just save this in. Do we have battles? No. All right. I'll just make I'll make a battle folder. Maybe this isn't smart. Also, everything's been plural, so I guess we'll call it. Whoops. Oh no. Didn't mean to do that. I guess we'll call this battles. Yeah. Then we'll put this into a namespace. Whoops, we can't do that. Oh, drat. Where did I save that? What did I save that as? That wasn't supposed to be called. That was supposed to be called battle result. There we go. This is going to be battles and battle result. And I think there should only be 2 results. Player 1 and enemy 1. Or player 1 and lost. Maybe just 1 and lost. It's pretty much assumed that you're the one who's winning or losing. Yeah. Stumbled into learning coding because I want to learn how to get AI into my bot. Ah, yeah. See, there's always some project that pulls people in. I think it's good. And yeah, this kind of thinking, Simono, this is something that has applied to me in a bunch of different ways. I feel like this is good for your own personal health history, wherever you've lived. So like residence history, and then yeah, work history. This rarely comes in handy, but when it comes in handy, I am so grateful that I keep these things up to date. So every once in a while, there'll be some format to fill out where it's like, list the last 7 places you lived. And it's like, what? I don't want to go look up addresses and figure all this stuff out. But now it's all just in a private note somewhere. Didn't get my first engineering job till I was 30. Had kids young. Went back to school late. Yeah, I think that feeling of being sort of the wrong age for something, I think that's very normal from what I've heard. And I think it's sort of like if you get in a car accident, even if you're like, oh, I'm fine, everything's okay, you know, nothing truly bad happened, you're probably not all that likely to get back into a car like the next day. Probably be a little bit nervous. End of life on Earth. Oh, yeah, we should definitely add that one in. Draws I wanted to avoid because I just think what should happen in a draw, and in this kind of game, it's supposed to be a chill game. So yeah, I'll just make it so that you win in that case. I mean, a draw could be possible, right? Like there could be an attack that says something like deal 100 damage and take 50 in the process or something. So you destroy the last target and you yourself are destroyed. Like it's possible from the point of view of the battle system. It's just I don't think we should allow it to work that way. Who's mining you for security questions? No, this was some like government thing that had to be done, I think. I don't remember what it was though. Or maybe it was I don't know actually. I don't remember what that was. But yeah, it's come in handy every once in a while. Go drive a little as soon as possible. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe they're onto something, or maybe they're just not mental health professionals. All right, what is on my clipboard right now? All I know is it's something important. Yeah, this. So we want to put this in here. There we go. And then in here, we invoke this with that you won. And here we invoke it with lost. Then we're going to listen to this from the other side of things. Where do we do that? This. Okay, so now the instance is going to listen to the battle. Battle system dot on ended. On battle ended. We can put that down here. Private. Oh, nice. It already knows. Neat. Now we just plug this into here. So this is going to be message equals, it should just know. Yeah. I'm just going to say 1 question mark, won the battle, otherwise lost the battle. And then we just type the message here. Good and good. Now we can delete this and probably all these things. Yeah. And then we just put an else over here. Braces should not share line. Oh, really? And they really want you to expand the number of lines you use. All right. Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, maybe it is good advice. Yeah, interesting. Nice, nice, nice. So handy. Okay, this should work. Let's go try it. I'm just never going to stop clicking that button. But item category is broken somehow. This makes me think that ooh, how did that happen? How did this happen? Oh, because I have a battle and a battle. Whoops. All right, there we go. That should fix it. Cannot convert to bool. Did I forget an equal sign? Where's instance? Here it is. Battle results. This should have been result equals. There we go. Hey, L colon Q. How you doing? What? What's going on here? Oh, it can't save? Huh. I haven't seen it take that long. I guess just cancel? Well, that worked. Have an early morning. You here? Definitely come back. Oh, yeah, cool. Well, thanks for raiding. I hope you have a good night. How's the game? The game's going well. We have 2 separate systems right now that are supposed to be unified at some point. Well, not maybe unified, but feed into one another. So this is the battle system. Yeah, lost the battle. That just rendered correctly. And then the shop system is looking a little better now that we have different item types. So here we have 2 cloaks, and there is an armor shop down here. So the skeleton's going to go take the cloak down to the armor shop. But if we had more, just add a few more of these things. Yeah, they're different item types, different values. Customers eventually need to, walk on the actual terrain. But yeah, things are coming together. So imagine that the battle system that we're working on was feeding items into this. Then there'd be some feedback in between the 2 of these. Cannot implicitly convert type battle result to bool. Oh, yeah, that's done. Yeah. How's everything going for you in your neck of the woods? In tangent land, as I call it. and not pejoratively either. Okay, this is messing up. I don't know what's happening here, but it's never had problems just saving a file, and now it can't even save a file. I'm gonna probably delete this comment too. Oh wait, the very nice was about the first thing. Are they cheaper than conveyor belts? You betcha. There will no work for bone cheap. It's not even an expression. Okay. Well, I moved those around. Today I'm working off stream just for fun on my little emulator project. And the Game Boy one? Are you emulating Z80? Like, specifically? Why does this complain at me every time? What does this say? Suppress or configure warnings? What is the warning? Change the event to replace the type where T is a valid event args. It's Z80-ish. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I've coded some stuff in Z80 before. And it's not a bad experience, although I absolutely hate dealing with like 8-bit numbers converting to and from 16-bit numbers. Like every once in a while, you're like, oh, is a number bigger than something else? And just doing the comparison is annoying. It's a suggestion, not a warning. Yeah, but can we delete it entirely anyway? Yeah, just multiply it by 2. But then you end up with 8-bit and 32-bit numbers. Where does it end? Gotta wrap all the way around back to 8. Yeah, this is definitely good. I like this a lot. So this is all we care about on a death right now, yeah. So move battle end events to instance. Yeah. So far, I don't think I've made a single functional difference to any of this code. I think it's all just been refactoring. All right, time to do some of the quick things now. Rename on health empty to on died. On died. On die? On death? On die is fine. And then on health change, that's also pretty much fine. Okay, happy with that. Rename on, I already forgot the name of it. On health empty to on died. I guess we'll run this really fast and just make sure I didn't break it. Change editor config. Yeah, I got to do that then. On final breath. That's right before you die. All right, change the cooldown so that it's always in seconds. I think the only thing that does this is basic attack. And I'm just going to change this to be 1.5, 3.5. And then we go into... wait, this returns a double and we want it to be a float. Yeah. There we go. Now don't divide by 1,000. And now just use auto property. Nice. Code should still work the same way. Yep. Initialize cooldown in seconds. I think it's just more natural for the kinds of durations we'll be using, e.g. 2 and 2.5 instead of something like 2, 1, 4, 3, 4. I shouldn't even be spending the tiny amount of time it takes to fix up this commit message, but I did it anyway. All right, there. Next, get rid of the instance inside of a battler. I think we already did that. Yep. Next, probably rename restore. I think we deleted it. Yep. Next, process doesn't need battlers. It could just be nodes. It shouldn't be called process battler. Abilities. Oh, I deleted the ability system. Yep, I renamed it. It takes in the right thing. Okay, cool. Remove some of the comments we have in the non-title screen classes. I think we've gotten rid of most of these, but it's pretty hard to search for just comments because they show up all over the place. Let's maybe just look in a few different areas. In the battle system, what do we have? Might need some adjustments in the future in case the anchors change. Yeah, that's true. But for now, I'm just going to delete it. Any other comments? No. What else? Battler. Do we have anything? Collection of abilities for initialization purposes only. Underscore ready. Why is this the case? I don't think this is needed anymore. I think we can change this around. This gets initialized here. And if we just do it after we've added it to the tree, then this shouldn't be needed anymore. Yeah, I think that's it. Why is it so much faster? I think it's just automatic. It's just easier to use. But you can set a shortcut to get to this thing. I pasted whatever it was in Discord. And yeah, I really, really prefer this. There are a couple of weird quirks. Like, oh yeah, I'm searching for abilities and I'm like, wait a second, let me look at my code again. And I go back to the search thing and now the term isn't there and up and down don't let you find it. So you have to type it again. But if you press tab enter, then you get the old style. And even from the old style, you can go into this style of getting it in your editor. I don't know if it's actually really faster. They look to be the same speed. I mean, this is pretty fast. Oh, what was I just saying? Oh, darn it. I forgot what I was saying. Oh, no. Yeah, this. Yeah. Battler. Battler should not have this set of abilities, right? And this is only used to just store it until we get to here. Yeah, so instead of this, let's add in the component here. And let's see if that works. This might not, but I think we'll be good. No, it looks like it's working. Okay, cool. All right, that lets us get rid of a few lines of code. So that. I think this can be renamed to ready now. Oh, whoops, there's already a ready. I think we can just bump these down to here. I'm not sure, and this might break, and I might have to do something about this. Oh, it is fast review. Okay, yeah. I don't know then. It is an experimental feature, so maybe that's part of the experimentation is different indexing. All right, I've got to take a quick break, but it looks like we changed this around. And I think we can probably get rid of these things too. So where I left off is clearing some things out from Battler, e.g. I think we can remove storage of this and this. All right, I am going to take a quick break. I'll be back in a little bit. Is it jump time? It's jump time. Xanis, I think you were on the path at the very end there to jumping off the edge. All right, close the game. Yeah, so we're gonna potentially remove things from here. Let's see. Yeah, I think we can remove this. This is both get and add component. Add component now fetches the component, right? So I think we can just say this here, health component equals. Then delete this. Well, we can't technically delete this without checking to see is it used anywhere else, and it shouldn't be. No, it's not. Okay, good. Then we just replace these things. Although we're gonna just track the max life here anyway, right? Yeah, I guess this is fine. I don't know. I don't know. Oh, also, I never thought about what happens when you level up when your entities are battling. We got to figure that out at some point. Answer the question of what happens to entities in a battle if you level up the guild? Do they level up too? Did the stats change mid-battle? If so, we need to adjust the life bars, any stats, etc. Yeah. At least the max life. Panicking under that block. How funny. How terribly droll. All right, now the only other place the health component existed was down here, and we will just replace this with ECS dot get component health component this dot life. Cool, that's done. Now abilities component, you are probably not used in many places. You are not used at all. Goodbye. All right, cool. Now the alive texture and the dead texture. Setting a team. This, I guess we could have written like this. Yeah. And then bump this up just to make them close to each other. All right, how are we looking? So we add a component for the health component. Let's put the health stuff near the life bar. Yeah. All right, I think it's looking pretty good. All right, remove some of the comments we have in non-title screen classes. Oh yeah, that's what I was doing. How expensive will get component be? That's why I always prefer to just fetch once and reuse it. So we can look at what it is now, which is it gets a node by name. I expect this to work in constant time, but it's not a guarantee, I guess. Did they say anything about the time complexity of this? Godot get node time complexity. I don't know how we find this without looking at their source code. Yeah, we'd probably have to look at their source code. Godot source code. All right, so the first thing we got to figure out is how do they type get node so we can search for it. And since it's all written in C++, I'm guessing it's written like this. It is written in C++, right? Get node node. Okay. Print get node. I mean, let's look at this, I suppose. Get node node. Static cast get node. Is there a way that I can figure out where they're calling get node? Or where they've coded the foundation of it? Godot works on some. Oh wait, this is in the GD script module. Where's just the core engine? C++ bindings for the API. I thought the engine was written in C++. Well, I'm pretty sure it should be this. I just don't know what they call it. But yeah, I guess maybe we search for get node and we can take a look at it that way. Return nodes p index. This is based on some int. I wonder if they have another get node. They have this ref animation node. I don't think this is it though. Visual shader, blend tree. It'd just be some like scene tree thing they have. Or maybe node code itself. There's node.h. That's probably closer to what we want. Where's node.cpp? Here it is. All right, let's take a look at this and see if we can find something. Get node or null. Here we go. Nice. All right, so how does this work? We take in a path. The path is empty, return null. Get a node pointer to the current and the root. If it's an absolute path, start from the current node. And then what? Iterate over all the nodes and just check to see if the names are equal. Yep. Where do we return a node? You say current equals next. Where do we break out of this then? Oh wait, this is if it's not absolute. If it is absolute, start from there. Oh, I see. I see. The only thing I don't understand here is name equals double dot this. If is node unique name, owned unique nodes that get pointer name. If it's not unique, it's not unique. Otherwise, if it's unique, just set next equal to this, set current equal to next. And at some point, we must break out of this. Oh, there's only one name. Oh, okay, yeah. So I think this is constant time. When I saw this, it had confused me for a second, but this is get name count. And I'm guessing that the name count is actually based on how many slashes you have. So you could do something like, you know, child1 slash sprite slash area 2D or something like that. So yeah, probably good to do. But if it weren't, the nice thing is we could always just write our own thing to get it. Like we can always change this to just store the components in memory and have our own indexers. All right, where do I leave off of this? Oh yeah, I was trying to get rid of comments somewhere. There was battle, there's, I guess, ability stuff. This is probably fine. Yeah. Wait, this says param names though. There's no param for abilities. I'm gonna delete this for now. No, I think we'll leave it at that for now. So in here, we actually got rid of some cached components and got rid of the enter tree call that we needed originally. Okay, so we'll just check in this. Refactor battler. Deleted on enter tree in favor of ready. No, it's just enter tree. And then stopped storing the components in battler directly. So now everything here should be something that we don't have a component for. And it looks like it is. Good, 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 good. Yeah, nice. All right, now delete some comments. Yep. All right, sync that. Remove some of the comments we have. So I looked through those. Debug code to create battlers should maybe be in battle itself. I don't care about this anymore. Maybe a utility function somewhere like this. So this would be good. Where do we put this? So one thing here's what this function needs to look like. Like I'll write it here, but I don't think it belongs here. But public static bool is dead, and it takes in an entity, and it does that. Well, it could just throw if it doesn't exist. Yeah. Type health component already contains the definition for is dead. Oh, I guess we can't name it the same thing. Well, this is more reason not to put it in a health component because is dead makes the most sense. But we could say is entity dead. And then I just want to see what this looks like. Maybe I hate this. This is ECS.get component on the entity. There we go. And then what, a property should not follow a method? There we go. So where should this function go? And I don't particularly care. It's a static function that could go anywhere because it doesn't use state of the class being static. So like health component is one place. There could be some kind of like health functions or something like that. It could go into ECS directly. There could be like ECS.isDead and you take in an entity and it just checks if there's a health component on it. I feel like putting it on here is probably fine. And this is only meant to be used for things that are very common. Checking if an entity is dead needs to happen from a lot of different places in the code. In fact, we could already take a look at how often we check. We check, well, this is inside the component, so that doesn't count. 1, 2, 3. Anyway, 3 places. I think I'm just going to do this. I think I like this. Let's at least try it out and see where that takes us. So now this would change into this. Is entity dead? It's slightly less verbose. I mean, clearly what I would have liked is just is dead here. That would be even less verbose. The only way to do that though would be to rename is dead to something like is depleted, which I don't like. So yeah, is entity dead, I guess is fine. Okay, yeah, well, whatever. Anyway, like it. So let's use it. So now let's search for the other 2 places that this shows up. Is dead. Target. You can apparently get rid of this. Lambda can be removed. Oh, nice. Yeah, because you can just use this now. Oh, this is pretty good. This is why having a static function can be helpful, I guess. And then there's one more case where we do this, and this is the same general thing we can do here, right? We just call is, oh wait, is this, I might have done that backwards. But has no members alive. We just call all is dead. Yeah, what about the last place where I did this though? Is that correct? Get enemy target. This is not is dead. Oh, we can't do that, can we? Yeah, I did reverse this, didn't I? No, drat. Okay, fine. So we want the same general thing then, I guess. Not health component is entity dead target. And I'm guessing there's no way to invert that. Nope. Oh well, that's fine. Let's run the scene again. Yeah, is entity not dead? Actually, is entity alive is a reasonable enough function to make. If it simplifies coding, I think it's okay to have it, even if it's literally just the opposite of another function. Yeah, looks like it's working. Yeah, I think I'll check this in. So add utility function for is entity dead. And then finally, look at how everything's initialized. Yeah. One uses the other as a dependency and returns the opposite. Yeah. Funny because let's say you only want one of the functions. If you only cared about is even or is odd, and you got unlucky and needed the dependency package, because they could both be coded as just standalone single lines of code. In one case, you need another package, which needs another network call. No, it's just because you got a 50% chance wrong. So yeah, we have inits on a lot of this stuff. This being an example of this. And we do this so that we can set which battlers we want. This is a debug function, though. I'm not super concerned about that. What about the battler itself? We have an init here, too. What is this used for? Yeah, I think this is reasonable. Does this follow the same pattern I was using for the rest of the code? Battler, instance, battle system, title screen. I might have named it initialize. No, I don't think I did this at all. Did I really not do it? How did I avoid? Oh, because I made static constructors for it, I guess. And then this just set thing. So I guess there would have been a create battler that would have done this. Yeah, I can see this working either way. How can you type on that keyboard? Switching between multiple layers is terrifying. It's not too bad. I mean, to type on a regular keyboard, you already switch between a shifted layer and a non-shifted layer. Now just imagine doing that times like 4 or 5. Just imagine that your pinky has to stretch farther and farther for 4 other shift keys. You had a Moonlander? Yeah, I had a Moonlander. And I sold it to a viewer. I hope that person is happy with it. Yeah, it's tilted. So yeah, what I'm debating on is do we make these just like I did before, where we had like a create and it was a static function? And battlers are initialized, I think, from the title screen. And I think it would make sense to have a static one, maybe. Is the battle scene cached? It is. I'm not I'm not super concerned for now, but yeah, eventually this will probably be changed. I think I'm just gonna save this. All right, there is a lot of other code that we have to do. So we should probably file that. Get characters to be positioned in battle. Does that matter? I don't think. If position matters, then you're going to want to choose it. So I just don't think it should matter. Positioning shouldn't matter. So just filling in the slots is fine. All the battle areas ahead of time with enemies. Allow characters to move between rooms in an instance. When the characters beat the whole instance, emit a signal. This is where we would determine which items you get. Okay, let's go look at the comments on GitHub because I know that Darkstorm commented on some things and I want to make sure I respond to those. This and this. All right, questions. Where are characters located in the beginning? I'm not sure what the beginning means here, but oops, I didn't mean to edit that. just answer in line. All right, so before a battle, I think your characters would be wandering around town somewhere. Or maybe they're just in their houses. Or maybe they're not even visible and they're inside their houses. I'm not totally sure, but they would. Yeah, actually, you know what? I like that idea. They just go back into their houses. Yeah. So, how about this? Characters are in their houses until they're called to a portal. Yeah, maybe they run to the portal, and when they come back from an instance, they go back to their houses. This isn't super important. What is important is not being able to send an adventurer to a to an instance unless they're free. Unless they're available, I'll say. Okay. All right, let's do this all in VS Code. All right, other questions we need to answer. Do we put a new portal somewhere else or use the one where customers and workers respond? I'm still torn on this system because I kind of wanted there to be a spot in the town where there were portals and you would click on the one you want, but I think it's probably better just to have one somewhere and then a menu that pops up. Let's be a soap cutting feature, you bet. In fact, let's just make a soap cutting game. I think we should have a different portal where adventurers go. There should probably only be one, and it should spawn a dialogue with all of the instance details in it, e.g. forest, level 1 to 3, I don't know, level 1, sure, whatever. No cost, caves, level 2, 10 per adventurer, etc. Yeah, something like that. Do we teleport out battlers in the instance, or we have to show a window prompting the player to select the battlers? Are there instances where we won't be able to send all the battlers? Teleport out battlers in the instance. We show a window prompting the player. So eventually you'll choose which, yeah, I guess this is the other thing. Max number of adventurers, 1. You'll choose which adventurers you send to an instance. The game will try to remember which parties you formed to cut down on the time to choose them, but this isn't important at first. There will be a maximum number of adventurers for any given instance. Actually, should there be a maximum? I'm trying to think about this. Maybe, like, originally I was thinking the maximum is there so you don't just steamroll all of the instances, but it costs you money to put adventurers in, so if you want to spend your money doing that, maybe that's fine. But yeah, I think there should be. Yeah. 2 to 3 room dungeons. Does that mean we're in the same room for 2 to 3 battles and just change the layouts? Respawning battlers and spawning new enemies. We have a single room or screen available. We have 1 instance, 3 rooms, filling the entire screen horizontally. So I don't actually think it means either of these. What I was picturing, or maybe no, yeah, what I was picturing is something like this. I wonder if it's worth mocking up really fast. When you load into an instance, it shows all of the rooms in a row. Well, it shows you some of them. I don't know. I think I just look at that screenshot I have from the game design document. This thing, but I don't think you can copy this into GitHub because of how Google Docs works. Yeah, it doesn't work. I want to copy this. Yeah, I just don't think this is doable. Like you can only copy within the document. But if I try pasting it in GIMP, for example, it doesn't work. Man, I think the only way to do that is to like export to PDF or something. Maybe I can do that? Give me a sec. Whatever, this is a waste of time. Let's just do it this way. I'll just make a bookmark to this for right now. I'll just copy that. So when you load into an instance, it shows a view like this. That should work, yeah. You may not be able to see all of the rooms at once, just given the camera coordinates. And then when beating a room, your adventurers will automatically advance to the next room. When they're all there, the battle will start. Where'd the original comment go? Here. How the reward screen look like? Is it fine to just create a multi-purpose window with a grid that just renders a list of items that item scenes we pass to that window? We already have a way of creating items. We could use this. I'm not very good at UI, so I'm not totally sure. The rewards are only going to be items now. So you know what I think could happen? I think so. The battles all have dedicated space on the screen. Or maybe I should say it this way. There's dedicated space on the screen for each of the battles, which means that when a battle is done, we can take over that space for the results. Maybe something like you earned the following items. And then I'll just paste in a bunch of items. Picture of potion. Picture of potion, picture of potion. And picture of cloak. Yeah, something like that. Then you would see these items get spewed onto your storeroom floor. Well, I'll just say into your storeroom. Yeah. All right, when all the battlers are dead, do we just close the instance? Do we keep the portal open for the player to rerun from the start? Recreating the instance. So I think we'll do the easiest thing for right now. For now, the easiest thing is to just close the instance. It costs money to go in. So the player would have lost that money. And maybe they'll try an easier instance. We'll have to keep an eye on that, though. All right, extra questions. Battlers attack in the same order they're loaded in by the battle system. Should we shuffle the collection first or just leave it like that? It shouldn't matter much, but there may be situations where you have the same cooldown as some enemy. You'll win 100% of such fights. I guess it's just an edge case. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about this. Yeah. We could just randomize cooldowns by like 0.01 seconds to have the same effect of shuffling. But even that isn't important. At least I don't think so. I don't know. This is again one of those things where it's like if we play the game and we say, yeah, you know what, this is a problem, then I think we could do something about it. All right, so I'll post this comment. All right, then the other one, is this related to 45? Add building NPCs. Yes. Ghost text on this too. Whoops. Trying to just copy this. There we go. Where did I open ghost text? I don't know. So let's just go close everything and try that again. And yeah, I just accidentally had a bookmark. What am I doing? Don't save, I guess. Do I have, is this because it opened in a different VS Code window? Oh, there we go. Yes, NPCs are the point of interaction for quests. Do buildings already start with NPCs? Yes. Do you have to somehow hire NPCs? Probably. I haven't fully figured out how this will work. Well, here's what I was thinking, and I think this might be in the design document of when you build a new shop, you get the NPC with it. I said it could just be a for sale sign. Yeah. Yeah. So we're going to do that, I think. All right. When you get a new shop slash building, it'll come with the corresponding NPC. You start with the storeroom. So, and one shop, the blacksmith, maybe. So you start with their NPCs. Yeah, for all other buildings that you have to make yourself, they'll come with a corresponding NPC. All right, and then do they only appear after the first upgrade and they offer you a quest? Yes. Yeah. That way you don't have a quest in your face as soon as you start the game, since that may be too much information. All right. Why can't I comment? Does it not think I have text here? What? This is weird. Why can't I make a comment? What is going on? There we go. Guess it shouldn't matter unless we do some ridiculous amount of entities, which is probably not possible anyway. Yeah. Hmm. I mean, 10,000 calls per frame is very unlikely. And I think you have a pretty powerful computer, so it's not actually that limit for other people. Because in the battle system, what I'm thinking is it's like when you use an ability, it's probably going to need to do like, I don't know, actually a bunch of calls. Yeah. But we can, what's our theoretical maximum? Well, so there's the town stuff, which I don't know what our maximum would be, maybe like 50 entities. And then there's the battle stuff. There are going to be 3 battles at once for probably like total maybe 54 entities there too. But they're not doing things every single frame. But yeah, I'm not super concerned because we have ways of cutting this down without having to like drastically re-engineer our systems. We could always just store components in a more accessible spot. Or just not even in the scene tree at all. Or cache the node that we... How do we do that? Yeah, anyway, we'll have some way of working around this. Get rid of the component storage and directly do get component. Yeah, we could add a layer of... Yeah, anyway, well, we have ways around this. We could definitely work through it. So I'm not super concerned. Okay, so this next thing, consider making the speed button in the game reset the speed. Let's go do that. That was done where? Town at the bottom. What is the maximum speed? 8. Okay, so const float max speed equals 8. And then we'll put this here, max speed. If the current speed is already that, if it's equal to max speed, then we'll set it back to 1. Otherwise, we will do that. Don't check floating point with exact values, use your range instead. You know, I thought about this, but then I thought setting it to 8 actually will work because it can store 8 directly. But yeah, let's do something here. Fine, math.abs engine minus max speed is less than what? Math.epsilon? Is there no epsilon? Math.f.epsilon? No, there it is. Okay. This is just a simple quality of life feature for debugging, so this doesn't really matter even if I never coded this. But when you click this button, that's once. That'll put us at 1.5, 2.25, 3 point something, pretty much 5, then like 7 point something. So now it should be at the max. And now pressing it again should slow it down. Yeah. There's no indication of that, but hey, it works. Is there a doc or YouTube playlist I should look at to get a synopsis of what you're working on? Yeah, check out this. There we go. I should probably throw the logo in there, the tentative one that we had working. Oh, I don't have it easily accessible. All right, well, I'll do that once it's done. I'll write this here. When we get a logo, throw it into the Skeleseller FAQ. Okay, let's commit that. So allow for resetting the engine timescale. When the game is already at maximum speed, pressing the pressing the speed button will reset it. Okay. Yeah, the level up thing, let's file away some of these tasks. Just close out of these tabs. Do we have anything about the guild? Ooh, that doesn't seem good. Ooh, that really doesn't seem good. Why don't we? Well, I guess we need that somewhere. There's nothing about leveling up? Oh, no, there's nothing about leveling up. Yeah, well, guess we'll have to go add that, right? All right, well, it's a P0 thing. It's just not in the first milestone. Add the guild. We do have a concept of levels. Levels were something that were going to be set by the guild, and you would level up your guild, and all of your adventurers would just immediately become that level. I think it's necessary. Actually, it's technically not, right? Yeah, actually, what if we just got rid of it? Ooh, that's a good idea. Yeah, so the original plan was have a guild building, and then the guild has a level, and all of your adventurers are set to the guild level. And raising or like increasing the guild level would cost money. So that was the original plan. What if the new plan is quests either level up your adventurers or just grant some like basic power, e.g., plus, I don't know, 5 power or plus 5 fortitude? No experience per character. That's something I want to avoid. I don't think it works for a game like this. And yeah, and then no concept of experience points. Well, there was still no concept of experience points. So could something like this work? I guess the problem here is that you level up shops just to be able to sell more stuff. So there wouldn't really be a choice here. You'd just be upgrading your adventurers. But I'd rather have one system for upgrading them than two. Yeah. Maybe your guild is just like a special shop in that regard. The guild I could see like getting experience through selling items. Well, another way to look at it is like the guild is taking items to equip them to your adventurers. You know, I could totally see something like guild, uh, like level up quest number 1, bring 3 rusty swords, 3 cloaks, 3 health potions. And then these could just keep getting kind of more and more complex. Bring 4, I don't know, iron swords or something like that. 2 iron swords and 3, whatever, I don't know, breastplates. Something like that. What's kind of nice about this system would be that you don't just click a button and immediately get a reward. You would start a quest and then you'd need to go into the zones that drop these sorts of things. And then we could limit what level you are by just limiting what drops. Yeah, actually, that's pretty interesting. It's pretty compelling. Benefits: you don't just click a button and level up. We can gate where these items drop to so that we have a good idea of what level you are. This would probably reinforce the quest system and the idea of equipping your adventurers is easier to understand than some abstract guild level with no lore explanation. That's just a lore reason, though. Be the same general idea. Okay, so is this better? Functionally, they're very similar. The original plan was it would just cost money. and items are only for money, but these would require you to get specific items. Quests are already going to be in the game, and they would require you to get specific items, and they can also level up your characters. I wonder if you could ever get into a situation where you can't get the items because you're not strong enough and you have no way of getting stronger. That might be a problem. Yeah, what would we do about that? It's called grinding. Well, there wouldn't really be any grinding though, right? Like what would you I guess you'd have to raise your shops up in order to get slightly stronger that way. Downsides, you may run into a situation where you don't have the ability to get the items you need. I mean, a lot of the time, grinding in games is a guarantee, essentially. You go fight and you will eventually get some experience, and that experience will eventually level you up. In a game like this, I guess there is sort of that guarantee. It's like you run an instance, whatever, 5 times, and maybe one time it'll drop some percentage of the items that you need. Well, I will say this. The way we could start is with this idea, because this is really just a button. In fact, we could just throw this in the game right now. If we go into the, how do you open a seat? Open the town. What? Is this not even populated? Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, what I was going to say is we just throw a guild over here and we just stick a button on it just like this one, and it just says level up adventurers. So that's at least how this could start. I want to think about the design of this some more. Yeah, I want to think about the design of that. But in the meantime, add the guild. Oop, what happened here? So design, game design thoughts. This doesn't really belong in this task, but I'm just going to throw it here for now. So add the guild. There should be an NPC as a point of interaction. And to start with, just have it cost money to level up your adventurers. And then when leveling up adventurers, figure out what should happen to the ones that are currently in about, no, not multiplayer. Definitely not multiplayer. Did they level up too? Did the stats change mid-battle? Yeah. Okay, so this is going to be milestone. I guess the guild itself is checkpoint 1. Yeah. Is it though? Does it need to be? I don't know. Sure, it is for now. Doesn't matter. All right. So, where do we stand? I think the most important thing we need to do is make it so you can enter a battle and it'll, pop up an instance or something, even if it's just the battle system we already have, and then we can start generating some items from it. And that way we can get a better idea for how the game feels altogether. So yeah, next step would be allow for entering an instance. We don't even need the adventurers yet. It could just create them for us, probably in a 5v4 so that we usually win. Yeah, I think so. Hmm. Okay. Yeah, skill trees and everything too. I guess skill trees, if we're gonna have skill trees, it means that you must have levels in the game. So I should have probably thought about that when I came up with this new system. Yeah, it needs to level up your adventurers. Quests, level up your adventurers. Or grant skill points. Or both. In town, we should already have 2 characters instantiated and just pass them to the instance. Do we need character classes here? We don't really need adventurers to start with. We could just have, I mean, imagine a button on the town screen that could just be a portal even. You just click this and it just starts a battle at the bottom left of the screen. Like that way we're doing things step by step. And then from that battle, it could start granting us items. Then we could say, okay, yes, now you have adventurers, and now they have to enter the portal somehow. So you have a dialogue for picking. But yeah, first we could just say click button, start battle. The battle ends. If you win, you get some items in your storeroom. Yeah. Man. Yeah. By the way, today was already super productive. So if I did nothing else, I'd be very happy with the progress from today. Yeah. Hey, Amrox. It's been going well. I think there's been good progress. I think I've sort of recovered from the last week uncertainties that I had. There were some game design things I was confused about and just how do we move forward, and I'm feeling more confident about that. I am going on vacation in I think like 3 weeks. Let me look up a May calendar here. May 22nd. So yeah, 3 weeks and 2 days. I So what about the timing of checkpoint number 1? Is 3 weeks enough time to do that? I think it is. Yeah. How do you organize your file system? I've been struggling to find a good system of naming and sorting folders. Any tips? I think the basic things I generally do are like an assets folder, a scripts folder, and a scenes folder. And then there are assets you could have like images, fonts, audio, whatever else you might need. And scripts, just like any other coding project, just kind of make folders as you need them. So maybe we have a town system and we have things like shop and customer, and an item system with things like item and some other thing. I don't know. Yeah. Figure out how to handle enemies in the next instance rooms. Do we show what's in the entire instance and probably make battle system update all enemies visible there? Or maybe we only spawn the next group after winning. I think we should show them all. Yeah. I mean, at least in the... to be honest, we can just do whatever's easiest. I think that's fine. Like, we can spawn them in as needed. I think that's okay. But showing the enemies in the instance is probably what makes the most sense, because otherwise, how did they get there? I'm going to take a break pretty soon, but I'm not totally sure what I want to work on the rest of this particular stream. So yeah, I think where I left off, come up with a plan for how to proceed. At the very least, I should know what I'm doing for Wednesday. All right, I'll take a quick break. I'll be back in a little bit. Is it jump time? It's jump time. Hey again, closed game. Closed the game. I don't think I heard that at all the first time. So yeah, plan for how to proceed. Well, Darkstorm, what do you want to work on? How about we start with that? Yeah, closed game. I should probably just get it to handle that, right? Code vocal
Whoops.
streamer s main.py. Yeah, let's just duplicate this one. We'll eventually get it. Considering quest, but we need the NPCs. Yeah, the NPCs I don't think are going to be too tough at first because they're just stationary and we should have the graphics already for them. Where's the NPC task? I don't even know. NPC. There it is. All right, so add the sprites, add the code for associating them to a building, allow you to click the NPC to perform some action, probably show dialogue. Yeah, you could potentially just cut out the dialogue part and just give you a quest and not even a choice at some point. So like clicking an NPC could just upgrade your building. So the NPC is basically just a button that happens to be in the game. And then just make sure that whatever tasks aren't done from here get sorted into a new task. Do you know what I mean? That way you can tackle this sort of in like small pieces if you want to. Also, this probably goes without saying, but I was picturing the NPCs would stand right there. Like there, and there. Because otherwise I don't know where we'd put them. Want to go over the rest of the battle stuff? Okay, well, between the battle stuff and the quest stuff, what are you leaning toward more? Because I don't mind what you want to tackle. That's totally fine. But I want to make sure I'm not tackling the same thing. That's all. Because whatever you don't want, I'll probably start on Wednesday, I'm guessing. Number 1 battle, number 2 quest. All right, number 1 battles, number 2 quests, number 3 question mark for now. I stick to those 2 for now, yeah. Yeah, so I think the most important thing with battles, let me list out what I think would be important here. So have just a debug button for now that sets up an instance in the bottom of the screen in some dedicated space. It plays out a battle just like what we had, just like what we have on the title screen. So no persistent adventurers, no special abilities, etc. And then when winning that battle, grant some items just like the debug button does now. So no need to select an instance yet. No need to choose adventurers. And no need to come up with proper item creation. What's this project I'm working on? I'm working on a game called Skeleseller. I've got a very small FAQ here that tells more about the game. Please do check it out. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I don't mind evolving this document. So yeah, this is what I would say we do at first, and then we build on this. So let me see if we've got this in here. I think I said something about, yeah, finish making the battle system. Oh, there was this task. Start the player with 2 adventurers. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about any of this. So for the next set of tasks, I tackle this. Winning that battle. So yeah, no need. Select an instance. Yeah, no need to choose adventurers. No need to come up with proper item creation. Yeah. And then allow for starting multiple battles at once. in dedicated spaces at the bottom of the screen if there's a free slot. There can be up to 3 battles playing out at once. There's another question I kind of wonder about though. Would it make sense to have just one battle playing out? Like I feel like the point of automation can be kind of for scale here. Maybe we limit it to 2 battles. I don't know. Those are questions that I think are worth putting in a design document though, so I'll go add that. Questions. Battle system. Is having 3 battles too many? Well, I guess like too much going on at once. Would it be better to have only up to 2 at a time? Is everything pushed? Can I sync? Yeah, it is. It's another cool idea. Oh, someone else mentioned an anime that they watch. Which one does it remind you of? And Darkstorm, when you say sounds like a good idea, you're talking about this comment, right? I'm linking this just for Darkstorm because no one else should have access. Private link. Okay, cool. Yeah, to be clear, the reason why I think it's worth doing things this way is so that we only tackle what like makes sense for one PR. And it should keep things relatively contained. Like granting items at the end of the battle should just be a function call we already have. And yeah, starting a battle should mostly have code we have. So this is essentially like the next PR is the glue code for setting this up. Solo leveling. And that's an anime, right? Yeah. Interesting. I'll try to remember the names of these things because someone else had mentioned something like this too. All right, so if that's what Darkstorm is doing, I think what would be good for me, I can make the adventurers. They could have abilities and stats and maybe even a house that they belong to. Is there anything else with the shop system I wanted to make? What would it take to make the adventurers? Do I have anything written? Allow for hiring new adventurers. Maybe the guild is where you do this. The amount of money for each new adventurer can be static across all games. You choose the next adventurer from a pool of 2 to 3 choices you don't already have. Yeah, there's also some game design around this too. Yeah, I think that's what we'll probably focus on. Just chill for. Oh yeah, totally fine. Yeah, yeah. I think, like I said, I think we should probably aim for like 3 weeks from today to get checkpoint number 1 out. And I think what it should probably contain is the ability to start battles, get items, sell items, do some basic upgrades, and maybe a skill tree. I'm not sure about that. And it's not like a super strict deadline. I think. Is Godot for the graphics? Godot is the game engine. So it handles processing input, rendering to the screen, playing audio. Technically, it handles, even making builds of the game. So if I want to produce a Windows build versus a Mac build, for example. All right, abilities, stats, maybe in a house that they belong to. What else? What else? Number 9. maybe design the classes a bit and maybe code some of the abilities. Yeah, I could work on the buff / debuff system. Okay, well, how about this? We can tackle this right now, I think. We can tackle some of the design that we had. So if we go open up regular idle ascendants, let's go take a look. So we ended up with 8 abilities in the game. And the battle system worked differently anyway. So what? The mage started with Fire Blast, Lightning Zaps, and Boulder. We're going to need some of these effects and stuff too. And I think we have this set so that just uses abilities automatically. Yeah. And I had these set to like a ludicrous amount of life for all the enemies because I think I was making a video. So the important part for designing these classes is figuring out their like special passive ability. And then we're only going to allow them to equip 2 abilities out of 3. Whereas the way this worked was it was 3 out of 8. So yeah, 2 out of 3 instead, much smaller numbers there. All right, so remember class defining passive ability and then come up with 3 different abilities for them with mods. We're going 2 abilities now? Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what we had over here. Yeah. Classes have a predefined set of 3 abilities, but can only equip 2 at a time. Oh, right. And this, the whole point of the 3 abilities was to have these roles. Yeah, I gotta keep that in mind. This was so that we could have various roles, e.g. a tank / DPS hybrid. And you could decide which role that character would play. Yeah, also, I think not having a million different things to choose from is pretty good. And it kind of makes me wonder how many mods should this have? Like, what should the max level be in the game? And if you have to do these quests to level up, then, well, I guess toward the end of the game, it could just keep increasing the amount you need per thing, but that would be kind of sucky, right? Because if a quest doesn't get done, then you're not getting rewards from that. I messed around with getting anything to render or do anything that isn't CLI is complicated. It's really not too bad. If you try Godot again, for example, if I were to just make a new scene here and I didn't mean to click that. Okay, I've already messed up. So clicking the button was hard. All right, so if I were to make a new scene and I were to just like drag a character onto here. So there's my character. And then from here, I could just right click this and attach a script and then write like 1 or 2 lines of code and have my character move. And then you could add in keyboard controls and like now you have a character that can just move around on the screen. Does it work with C++? I believe there are C++ bindings, yeah. And like that on its own, what I just did here is literally it's drag and drop. That was not too bad. And then yeah, attaching a script, you could, I'm pretty sure you can just, okay, well, I can only pick GD script for some reason. I don't know why that is though. Huh. Maybe there's, yeah, I don't know why that is. I think there's a way to code in C++ though. Oh, Anakis, how you doing? Yeah, so I don't know what the max level should be, but what if it's something low like 20? So if we have, if you only really wanted to use 2 skills, and if they had like 3 mods each, and if each of those mods had 3 levels, then you have 2 times 3 times 3, so 18 levels that you care about, I guess. I never talked about respecing in the game, did I? I don't think I did. Hey, Bob. Different amount of control on how the program runs. Yeah. Did get moving to work for a prototype platform. Yeah, I think what's nice about game development is 1, it's visual, and 2, building on what you're trying to do usually presents itself with sort of clear-cut problems you want to solve. Like, okay, I have a platformer now. How do I add enemies? And it's like, okay, now you can go research how you add enemies. And if you ever do hit a tough enough wall, you could always like start over or make a different game or something with what you do know how to do. I don't think I ever even designed respecializing, did I? Abilities can be switched while in an instance or upgraded via skill points you earn on leveling up. Oh, no. I said respecing was just you can subtract items or subtract points at any time. Okay, that's kind of cool. All right, so the max level is 20 and you can get all of the skills you care about. That's probably not going to be too much fun. So maybe we could say it's lower. I don't know what this is going to look like in the game. And I think we should try not maybe over designing things. But I do want to, we need to pick some just general target maximum level. So we say the max level, let's just say it's 20, right? Because I guess we could just come up with any amount here. Yeah, let's say it's 20. So now knowing that there are 2 skills, because I think this part is kind of non-negotiable here, how many mods and levels should there be? So maybe we say 3 mods and then 5 levels per mod. And that way the number of points you would want would be 30 points. What you'd want, and you have to pick 20. Yeah, that's not bad. So that means for every character, we're designing 9 mods. 9 mods per character. It's probably fine. Okay, I think it's at least a reasonable starting point. So maybe say that the max level is 20. We have 2 equipped skills at a time, but a 3rd skill you can pick. 3 mods per skill, 5 levels per mod. So that would mean that at level 20, oh wait, level 20 would only give you 19 skill points though, right? Tiny little mistake there that I forgot about. So you'd only pick 19 of the 30. I think that's still fine. Yeah. Start at level 0, end at level 21. That means at level 20, you would have 19 points, but you would want 30. Yeah. Practical take on integration / extension building. I have experience, but not enough to be able to suggest anything reasonable. I use Lua very rarely, and the most recent thing I used it for was Hammer Spoon. But I hope you find what you're looking for. Okay. So is there anything else we need to consider when we look at adventurers? First adventurer is a predetermined class, like the rogue or the warrior. Adventurers have a class. Class have a predefined set of 3 abilities. And I think there was like a class defining passive ability. Classes also have a class defining passive ability that cannot be leveled up. E.g., the mage may have a chance on using a skill to reset the cooldown on both skills. And the warrior may have a chance on hitting, or not a chance on hitting, may automatically kill enemies lower than a certain amount of life. What was a reasonable take? I feel like I've overloaded my brain today and I'm not even following basic conversations. Do I have designs for these characters? I think the closest we have is the Idle Ascendants design doc. Yeah. So I think starting you with a class that just does damage might be a good idea. Yeah. Did I write something about skill trees in here? Yes, I did. Did I write something about adding and removing? Yep. Cool. Well, I originally had this concept of the rogue. I think it'd be cool to start with a rogue. So I had this idea of, what did I have? Can I even copy this in like a good way? Not really. But the passive was supposed to be this concept of like anytime you do damage, you could apply it a second time, but as damage over time. And then everything you had would be based around knowing that you have this ability. So like this would be a super fast attack that you get. Well, not no cooldown anymore, but like speeds up your other attacks you would get too. It'd be kind of cool to have something where you had a very, very long cooldown on an ability, like 60 seconds, but every time you use this ability, it goes down by 3, and you get this ability very quickly. So it's like the other ability doesn't have a super long cooldown. Well, it might sound busted, but it probably wouldn't work out to be that way. The battle system in this game is somewhat unique. Like abilities just get used as soon as they're off cooldown. And so and like there's no mixing abilities from other classes. So we would just design the abilities such that it works with this. So you wouldn't have some ability that does like 400 damage and then every chance it can do another 400. You'd have something that does like, 3 damage. It has a chance to do an extra 3. Hmm. All right, yeah, I think your first character should probably be like just a DPS class. Think of the first character probably just a DPS class so that there isn't much choice to ruin the character. Actually, it doesn't really matter. I think it'll be fine. We could just start you with certain abilities. It's okay. Yeah, rogue or warrior is fine. I think starting with a warrior might be okay. Doing a lot of damage with this would be crazy. Well, yeah, I don't totally know how I want to set this up yet. I like the idea of this like quick attacker. I guess we could just design classes and not worry about what the first one is yet. Yeah. But yeah, I was thinking the rogue would mostly, I guess, be a single target attacker. And then could maybe have ways of avoiding being hit. So I need to think about that. And what would its passive be? I like the idea of applying damage as damage over time. Maybe it's worth just coming up with what those are first for all the classes. Passive abilities, yeah. Cross entity object information? What do you mean, Elysium? They usually run simulations to figure out if there are op metas and the possible skill builds. Yeah, probably. And I think a lot of it too goes right into the design of the skills of figuring out like how much damage should you be doing at a given level and then maybe trying to figure out how you could get to that. But usually there are so many combinations that a player ends up figuring out something that the devs didn't intend and then the devs just have to tone it down. In single player games, it's not as important because there's no one on the other side of that equation. In a multiplayer game, if you had a gun in a first person shooter that, immediately killed everybody else on the map, you'd be like, well, I'm ruining someone else's day, 10 other people's days. But in a single player game, no reason why you can't add that. I like this idea of maybe coming up with the class defining passives first. What do we have there? Necromancer? Chance on killing an enemy to summon a skeleton. I don't think that could be a thing anymore. Nor do I think that would need to be a thing. Hmm. All right, I want to put some thought into this. Let's go find that Scratch document I had. Want to design some of the classes that we'll have in Skeleseller. I think I want to start with the class defining passive skills. Actually, maybe it's a dumb idea to even have that. Like maybe that's just extra surface area here for no real gain. What if instead of passives, we had them as mods on the active abilities? I don't know. It could work either way, although the mage, for example, in the original game had something where it's any skill had a 20% chance to immediately clear the cooldown on all 3 skills. So if you were to put this on all of your abilities, one, would be very verbose. But then what does that do for the combinations you have? Or you could put it on like one ability. Because what I'm thinking is, how do you differentiate if you've got like 15 classes in a game? There's going to be a lot of overlap. I guess that's okay. Yeah. All right, well, let me change the title because I think I'm just doing game design, and I think I had this written down as that I was going to be coding. Yeah, designing classes in the game. Okay, there we go. Very good. So this is skills as ability mods, but it comes with cost for balance, depending on how you want to approach it. So I think it's very clear to understand the kind of game that we're making here, because a lot of what you do in other games is like totally thrown out the window. So battles in Skeleseller are fully automated. You have no input during a battle. So there's no concept of aiming, of movement, of like timing things right. None of that stuff exists. And it's just like players versus NPCs. So there's no PvP. It's not a multiplayer game. And so yeah, that's what we're kind of building on here, is that idea. And so the closest thing we have is, why doesn't that work? Closest thing we have was this originally, which this is sort of like what you'll see. Actually, let me just level up my character, right? How do I do that? There we go. All right. So this is pretty close to what's going to happen. Character will just automatically use abilities and they'll automatically target. And it's just a matter of like, okay, what skills should they have that they're using here? So that's kind of what I'm trying to come up with. And the mage in this game, you'll see every once in a while green text show up that says mental swiftness above its head. That clears the cooldowns of all the abilities, and then they all get used at once. So that was like a cool little mage ability that exists. And the warrior had something where it was automatically execute enemies close to death, and the necromancer had chance to summon a skeleton whenever an enemy dies. But these were all in their own battles. So some of this was not necessarily a problem, but once you have many characters in one battle, it could be a problem. So yeah, what do I think about the idea of not having, what if there weren't class defining passive? Then to accomplish the same thing, we'd have to put the effect on each active ability, which I don't think would make sense. So I want to write in this that we should show your class defining passive ability in the skill tree, even if you can't upgrade it. Instead of having 15 classes, make 5 or 6 with 2 or 3 subclasses. I guess there are there are two parts of this. One is the idea of progression through subclasses, but the other is the idea of just having subclasses altogether. So if you did have something like a healer and they forked off in 3 different directions, and one of these directions was, I don't know, like pure healer, and the other one was, I don't know, some kind of like hybrid class, and the other one was more of a tanky role. That's still designing 3 or 4 classes. So I think that's kind of what I'm talking about here. Is like, how do I want to just differentiate the classes? I I don't necessarily mind the idea of subclassing, but since the battles are all automated, I feel like this is just a way of kind of giving you cooler looking battles in the end. Is the idea of structure there limiting and no benefit? I think there needs to be a structure. I'm not sure what you mean. Yeah. Like, and I think even this question here of should we have a class defining passive ability, I think I'm leaning toward yes for this to make it so that the classes are different, even if they have otherwise similar abilities. Yeah. Oh, subclassing as a selection. Yeah, I think I'm probably just gonna proceed with what we had originally here. So I like the idea of class defining passives, and I think that makes for more interesting overlap of other abilities. There can be 2 direct damage spells, but only one may have a chance to immediately kill the enemy. All right, cool. So then let's go on this front. Let's try to define some of these. So the ones we had originally in Idle Ascendants were chance on any ability usage to clear all cooldowns. There was automatically execute an enemy if it's at low life. And what was the third one? Oh yeah, chance to summon a skeleton on killing. That chance to summon a skeleton could still be there, but it wouldn't be on killing. It would have to be on the enemy dying, because the chance of the odds of the necromancer getting the kill were probably pretty low. And so some general like ideas here could affect how much loot you get as a passive. Like imagine a thief class plus, I don't know, 50% loot gain. That's probably too much. Also, then you probably want them in your party almost no matter what. So you got to have a balance of like, what's the right amount there? But yeah, plus some percentage of loot gained. Or maybe a chance to find money based on the item value. There was that idea from the original game of chance at any direct damage is applied a second time as physical or as damage over time. I like that. I think it's a pretty good idea. Chance to apply damage a second time as a damage over time effect. Okay, let's look through our little character sheet over there. Where is the character sheet? So I was gonna say, we could just look at some of these characters and see if there's inspiration from that. Where are you? Here we go. All right, so thinking of the warrior, that's where we had execute, but we should think of some tank abilities too. Maybe could be like chance to take a hit for another character and reduce the damage by like 30%. Probably more than that. 70% of it's taking damage for other characters. You come back to read notes or write them mostly in order to order your thoughts. In this case, it's just for ordering my thoughts. So by the end of this, I will hopefully take all of this and put it into a design document. But then the design document is something I would come back to and read again later. So I've already consulted this a bunch of times over the course of making this game. But then most of my notes are also public, and so other people could look through them. Yeah, thorns I think would be cool. Thorns attacks on this character deal damage to the attacker. I think that could be nice. Chance to spread a damage over time effect to other enemies. That I think is going to be built into the abilities themselves. So that was something that existed, for example, on this poison dagger. There was every time your poison deals damage, it has a chance to spread to another target. I think that was pretty cool. So, but I don't know if I'd want that to be just for every ability that a character has. Also, I had a whole bunch of abilities listed somewhere. Where were those ability ideas here? Absorb hits. This is like saying dodge the next X attacks. Dispel negative effects on you and positive effects on the enemy. Actually, that could be kind of cool. Just like a debuff eater class. Anytime it gets poisoned or whatever, it just turns into a heal. Yeah. Like cleanses one debuff every X seconds. If one was cleansed, heal life. Yeah. Buff ally damage based on percent of tank's missing health. Interesting. Buff allies damage based on percent missing health. That would have to be a class you probably get later in the game when you're actually using the party system. Yeah, buff allies based on missing health. Actually, I like the idea of the whole berserker concept of like get stronger based on missing life. Something on ally death. The only issue there is that it would very rarely go off because of how people are going to interact with this game. They're probably going to go to zones where they know they're going to win. So if an ally dies, well, okay, one way you could do this is it could be the summoner class that's doing that. When your summon dies, do X. And then you don't care if your summons are dying. But yeah, I think if it were just regular allies, it would probably be something you don't see happen very often. So it'd probably have to be very powerful. All right, what were other ideas that we had here? Cleric has a kill ability if your life exceeds the enemy. This is probably too strong in the current game now. Could have an enemy debuff you in a way that disables your leftmost skill. Something that always targets the enemy with the lowest. Oh, that's kind of cool. Oh, in fact, that could be the rogue's whole gimmick, maybe. That they always target the enemy with the lowest life. So they are kind of, they do kind of use sticky targeting almost. But I don't know if that needs to be a passive. That could just be an ability that they have. I do like that idea though. Rogue always targets the enemy with the lowest life. Overkill damage transfers to another target. I think that could be a... Oh man, I don't know. So the thing that's really tough here is any on-kill effects are really tough to balance because you'll eventually have like a 4 versus 9. And how do you guarantee that of your 4, if you think of them as like warrior, rogue, I don't know, archer and mage or something like that. If your warrior has that on-kill effect, how do you know it's the one who's going to get the kill? And then even if it does, is the overkill damage worth it? Like, would you put points into an ability like that? So in the original game, it was like, well, it's never 4 versus 9. It's 1 versus 9. So yeah, it totally makes sense to have that. And that's how we designed some of the abilities too. In fact, this execution, when it kills a target, it's immediately used again. And so this could like kill 4 enemies at a time, which is super cool. But yeah, could that work in this new game? Probably not. You'd have to probably phrase it differently. Like when an enemy dies, you immediately use this ability. In fact, that's actually pretty cool. I like that idea. Maybe there could be, yeah, when an enemy dies, immediately use your first ability, something like that. And that could be on a purely damage dealing class, and then you just put your first ability. Well, I don't know, something like that. Yeah, always target the enemy with the lowest life. This is probably not super exciting. All your attacks are hitting the weakest enemy. But if you're a single target attacker, that actually is pretty good. Then only have single target attacks and have some be pretty powerful. You ever made a game and tried to sell it on the Google Play Store? Sort of. I made a game called Botland and it was on the Play Store, but it was free to play. So people could make in-game purchases. Yeah. I think we got to put a bookmark here and just write that I'm doing this over here. There's no proximity, yeah. Although you could still redirect damage to something else. But you wouldn't be able to control what it's getting redirected to. So probably there'd be a tank character that you wouldn't mind if it got stuff redirected to it. And the way I wrote this over here, where was it? Chance to take a hit for another character and reduce the damage by about 70%. The problem here is that this character would need to have like higher defense by default because it would just be taking more damage. So it either need to be heals or it need to be the target of a healer somehow. You found your Botland t-shirt? Nice. Yeah, I have a lot of Botland t-shirts. What else do we have as ideas over here? Counterattack. Oh yeah, this is great. I love this idea. Counterattack, chance on being hit to attack the enemy back. Maybe it uses one of your abilities. This is one of the tiny issues I have with this, which is I'd like for this to use one of your abilities, but then the order you have them in would matter. Because imagine if you had a mage with like Fireball and Boulder and something else, or just even these two. And let's say you had a spell counterattack. Like, which one is it using? It could use both, and then there's no problem, I guess. But if it's always going to use your leftmost one, let's say, then you need to be able to equip which one's on the left and which is on the right. And maybe that's part of the ability system and it just works and it's fine. Any passive that reduces damage over time effects? Yeah, that can be done. I think that's sort of like this one. Could just cleanse. Actually, this could be super overpowered now that I think about it. Maybe it's like once per battle. I think this is once per battle. Pick a random. Okay, that could be interesting. Pick a random ability to counter with. Yeah, I like that idea. At random. Okay, what other ideas were here? Whoops, did not mean to close that. Also have a skill that heals and deals the same amount of damage to enemies. I like the idea of a healer class that every time you heal an ally, it deals that damage to an enemy. I think that could be a nice passive. Any healing done to an ally is dealt as damage to enemies. And then we could have the opposite of that. Any damage dealt to enemies is distributed as healing to allies. Yeah, both of those could be pretty interesting. Passive for lowering cooldowns on entering battle, armor piercing shot. That could be kind of cool too. Self buff, your next ability is used twice. Ooh, that's pretty interesting. In fact, that's maybe better than what the rogue had originally. Like just chance to use any ability twice. Similarly, chance to use any ability twice in a row. Have you heard of Suralim Ultimate? No, I haven't. I'll write that down. Hearthstone card I love that turns all healing effects into damage effects. Oh yeah, Akanai Soul Priest, right? I am familiar with Hearthstone. Although I guess there are multiple of those cards. Yeah. I think what like that's a game, that's a card or an effect that you need in a game where you control it manually. Otherwise, imagine if it just randomly turns some of your heals into damage and then you hurt yourself. Although there could be a class that like every other battle it flips between dealing damage and healing. Although a lot of this stuff is like, we're coding all these battle mechanics and then people probably won't even care too much. Hopefully they do. I think also to some extent, I showed it in here. These battles are pretty long because I just multiplied everything by 10 or 20 so that I could show off the battle system in the game. But maybe they should be kind of long even in the new game. Yeah, and that way you actually get to see your skills get used and like figure out how your character is playing. I don't think they should be this long. You can hardly see the life bars moving. Although I could put points into some ability here. This one, I guess. Boulder has a chance to do damage over time. This battle's never gonna end. Oh. Yeah. Well, not that long. Cause an enemy to attack another enemy. Passive to increase resistance to a certain element. Your critical hits from all abilities deal more damage. Prevent enemy from using one of its abilities. Oh yeah, could just have a character. This is kind of boring, but like character with just 50% elemental resist. Could be. When a summon dies, it hurts all enemies. Upon summoning, you gain life. Revive. Chance to automatically come back from killing blows. That's kind of cool. But yeah, I wrote this here. Tough to balance because it's not going to be needed most of the time. And when it is needed, it's going to be needed many times. Like, what are the odds that you got into a battle where you would have just died once, and by not dying, you win that battle? But actually, as a berserker, I think that could be kind of nice. Yeah. Could pair this with an ability like if you die while using this, you come back with 10% life. Or just a self-revive buff. How many times it can happen per battle. Yeah. Background regions, anything related to WoW and XYZ zones? I don't think so, no. Yeah, I don't think that'll be part of it. Do 2x damage against scorpions or something? Yeah. So that sort of fits into the zone-based thing where it's like, how often do you encounter certain enemy types? What are the enemy types? I think there'll just be resistances, and even then, I'm not so positive how I feel about it. I'm not sure. What else do we have here? Consolidator split. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so these are decent ones to probably get started with. I kind of like the idea. Well, no, I kind of like the idea of just some rogue thing. And what was the one that I thought was good? Chance to use one of your abilities twice in a row. I think this could also be something kind of cool for a rogue. There could be like a quick strike Any thoughts on GD script versus C sharp? Is it best to mix depending on the type of task? I'm just using C sharp. I would suggest if you're starting with Godot to start with GD script and just see how you like the engine at first. And then if you're like, yep, engine makes sense, then consider maybe what you want to do for kind of a final game. You'll have more insight into it as well. Right now, unfortunately, Godot 4 has broken web exports in C sharp. So this is just a known bug. They're trying to fix it. But if you want to have people play the game online, so you want to just be able to point to something and be like, hey, here's my game, go play it, and not have to download anything really, then you need to use GD script. But yeah, I think GD script is a little rough around the edges still, and I've got a note on this somewhere. I always forget where I wrote it. I think I wrote in my GD script note. Yeah. Yeah, this is what I wrote down for my opinions on this stuff. And I think this might be public. I don't know if I fully updated it. Yeah, here's this note. It doesn't have this bit on the bottom. GD script has hot reloading. And anyway, that's why I say I think it's good to start with GD script and then figure out what you want. Okay, so I can make a couple of different adventures. I think this is going to be what happens on Wednesday probably, and I'll put some time into this tomorrow. I'll write down for my own kind of homework here is file away the Monday notes and figure out what I'm doing on Wednesday so that I can just code the whole day. Make them do more damage or attack faster if they're outnumbered. But you will be in a party eventually. The game is almost going to force you into a party. And so are you outnumbered if you have, if like your allies are outnumbering the enemy still? Or, I don't know. But yeah, I guess there could be a character that as your allies die, you get stronger. It's just, yeah, you couldn't create these situations. So that's what would make this sort of tough. Are you always going to have enough characters to fill the party? So there are a few different things at play here, and it'll just be easier once the game is available to be played to show this. But one is that there's a cost to entering an instance. And then that cost is per adventurer. So you're incentivized to go with as few as possible. Two is that there's a maximum number, max party size per instance. And this generally increases as the game goes on. Three is that you can only have up to 3 battles going at a time. Modifiers that make you more powerful if you're the last live in your team. It's super cool though in a manually played game to have something like that. Like the battle's right on a, I don't know, you're right at the end of it, and then half your team dies, and you're like, oh no, are we gonna still win? And then the team becomes more powerful as a result, and yeah, they managed to bring it home. But yeah, I think in this game, the odds of your allies dying and then you're actually even paying attention to that battle and then your character winning. You know, this actually makes me think what I had written over here with this question. Where was it? Yeah, is it too much at once? And then I think an important consideration is that with more battles, it's harder to focus on any individual battle. Maybe limiting to 2 battles is a good idea. I'm so torn on this. It's the kind of thing that you really can't answer ahead of time. You've got to play test this. But yeah, the more I think about it is like if we're coding all this stuff and there's some complexity to battles, and then we're like, yeah, well, just 7 of them are happening at the same time. Then you'll probably just ignore all of them. Just make sure that you're winning them all. how can you check the current state of the game? Right now, the only way is to just ask me what's the current state of the game, and I can show you really quickly. So the shop system is largely untouched from last time, although there are different item types. So if I click upgrade storeroom, we get another bunch of these little display tables. And I click add items. And so now we have different prices and 3 different types of items. And they restock always to the right shop. So here's the armor shop, here's the blacksmith, here's the potion shop. And then customers will just wander over and buy stuff. So this part is unchanged maybe from when you last saw it. But it looks pretty cool. So this is always going to be on screen. And then at the bottom of the screen is going to be the battle system. And the battle system for right now is very new. So it's just characters, you know, with damage numbers above their heads. Don't you have space for just one instance? No, what I was picturing was... Where's that picture? This. Something like that. Like you have the town, you have this here, then another instance and another instance. And so this, imagine this picture, it could be very, very long, but at any given point, this is just a camera into that world. So it's just scrolling by as you complete the battles. And then this would be a totally separate thing. Kind of leans into the skill aspect of the game. Better you get at managing multiple battles. Are you talking about this game? I don't recognize the first version of the game. Yeah, the first version of the game is just this part of the new game. Although we still have a lot of ground to cover for that. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, on Wednesday, I think we're gonna add in adventurers, and I'm gonna design the classes a little bit. We're probably gonna add in those abilities as well. I think if we're gonna do this, that the skill tree stuff is a natural next step. Yeah, so next steps, abilities, buffs, and debuffs, and the skill tree. Regards to your point about having 3 active fights or 2. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. So the thing is, the skill aspect is there is no skill in this game. So the battles are automated, and the only thing you can do is you can choose which skills you have, and you can put points into modifiers for those skills. So once a battle's started, that's it. It's just playing out. And so you could have 1,000 battles playing out at once, and it's not going to tax you as a player because you're just providing the inputs to those fights. How much of the game is about the battles? Is it the focus or just an economic source for the shop stuff? So what I was kind of picturing is in the prototype. So in this game, whoops, I didn't mean to do that, but it doesn't matter. In this game, you were actually like clicking your character and moving around, but then eventually the fights were automated and people were like, why doesn't my character just move around for me? So I was like, okay, cool. I think the battles are still something to watch, and there is still some tension in like, is my character going to win or am I going to die? Do I need to change some strategy or something about it? But it's not super deep. No, yeah, there's no more managing skills during a fight. Originally, there was like okay, you click a button and queue up an ability. That's not going to be the case anymore. So this will just, the clicking buttons won't even exist. I'll probably just keep talking for a little bit, then I'll just sign off. Yeah, so anyway, how much of the game is about the battles? So I think this is going to be something interesting to watch, and especially at the beginning of the game when you don't have too much going on in the town side of things. So imagine something sort of like this. I can kind of mock this up by just shrinking this window and putting this window over here. I need my mage to heal. There we go. Okay, so imagine something kind of like this. So you can always see the town, and then the battle shows up at the bottom, and it's happening, but maybe you're looking at what's going on with the customers at the time, or maybe you're like, wow, why is this battle taking so long? Oh, wow, these enemies are harder than I thought. I should go to a different place. So yeah, that's kind of what this will look like. And then we need, like right now, the characters are moving pretty fast in this world. So we need them to probably move a little bit slower so that when you do get items, which maybe happens once every, you know, couple minutes, that it's not just, oh, well, I went and sold my one item. I'm done now. That really helps frame the design goals of the battle system. Yeah, it does. In that I think there needs to be something happening, and I think it should be visually interesting. So there should be projectiles and effects, and you should, you know, be able to tell what's going on. But I think that most of the time people are just going to gloss over it anyway because it's automated. But I still think your character should be like fun to think about. So yeah. Okay. 2 abilities per adventurer. Yeah, focus on making the developer experience good. In IA, I spent several hours undoing a bunch of cut corners. In the end, by the way, this actually turned out to be pretty good. If I show off an ability like, I don't know, Poison Dagger, this is what this looked like in Idle Ascendant. And it's really not too bad. There were, what, 2, 4, yeah. There were 4 modifiers total. No, wait, no, there weren't. What am I talking about? There's Contagion, there was Paralysis. Okay, there were 2 modifiers, and then there was the description of the main ability, and then there were ways to get the data from this. So there were a bunch of static functions, and then this was what it took to use it, which is just what's the chance of spreading poison, what's the chance of stunning the target, and get the targets that you want to affect with this and affect them. So I liked this. I liked that this was all self-contained. You could just look at an ability and tell what it did. It is a good time to figure out how we actually implement abilities and store data. Yeah, that's, I think, what I'm going to start working on Wednesday. And I think it'll just be what we had in Idle Ascendance. I think it should be good. Okay. I'll try to think about this some more tomorrow. Tomorrow is YouTube day, so no stream tomorrow. No stream, making a YouTube video. I don't know what video I'm making yet. Which was, I had some things written down. Let me see. Because maybe I can ask what people want to see. Videos. Oh my God. Give me a sec. I tried searching in the wrong way. All right. The ideas that I had were rapid development and prototyping, which I was kind of leaning toward. And what else did I have? Giving and receiving feedback and optimizing keyboard layouts. I'll probably end up making all of these videos at some point. And I've got a bunch of other kind of little random ones. I'm not sure. I'm kind of leaning toward the top one though. Rapid development and prototyping. So I'll probably do that. Yeah, I know the last hour or so was sort of meandering chat video. I think that'd be fun to do. Yeah, well, we got a lot done today, and on Wednesday we should be able to tackle some of the adventurer stuff. Let me go find someone to raid. Who is online? Okay, I don't think I've rated this person before. Let me see. Nope. I have not. I don't know why they're showing up in my list. Oh well. Yeah, I'm gonna raid this person. I have never raided them before. I've been trying to raid kind of everybody in software, and I've already learned my lesson. I shouldn't be typing in a name. I should be copy pasting it. Yeah, I'm trying to raid pretty much everybody in software and game development. All right, well, thank you all for watching. I'll be back on Wednesday. Like I said, we'll probably work on the adventurer system and maybe some ability stuff. And then again, I won't be streaming on Thursday. So there's just a lot of stuff to do outside of the stream for this. So thanks for watching. See you on Wednesday. Take care. Enjoy the raid.